In this example, we will be writing an equation given 2 points. We are asked to write an equation of lines satisfying the following conditions and write our answer in standard form. So here are the conditions. We must write a line through the points 2, -4, and 1, 5. Now recall that in order to write a line, you need 2 things. You need to know the slope and you need to know a point. Well, we have a point. We actually have 2 points, even though we don't need but 1 to plug in. But we don't know the slope. So that is what we're going to use those 2 points to help us with. Those 2 points is going to help us identify what the slope of the line is. So let's go ahead and plug that into the slope formula, which is y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Remember, double negatives becomes positive. So we see here that we have a slope of -9. And so now that we know the slope, we have enough information now to write our line. We're going to go ahead and plug our line. And again, I'm going to do both methods, y equals mx plus b, for those who prefer that method. Or you can use the point slope formula if you want to use that particular method. We're going to plug in a -9 for our slope. And since we can only plug in 1 point into the formula, let's go ahead and choose the second point. I'm going to plug in a 1 for x and a 5 for y. So when we plug those points into the y equals mx plus b formula, it would look like so. So here we have -9 times +1. That's going to give me -9. Last step to solving for b is to add 9 to each side, and b equals 14. So if we were to write our line in slope-intercept form, our line would be y equals -9, because remember we identified our slope as -9. So y equals -9x plus 14, because b is 14. Remember, b always goes in the back because that is your y-intercept. Now this is not in standard form, but we can write that in standard form by simply just adding 9x to each side, and we have the equation now in standard form where x is first, then y, and the number is by itself on the other side. So for those of you who prefer the point slope formula, let's go ahead and plug those same values into that formula to see what it looks like being solved. So on the right side, we're going to have to simplify that. -9 times x equals -9x. -9 times -1 is +9. Last step to solving this equation is to add 5 to each side. And again, we have the same answer as we did using the other method, that our line is y equals -9x plus 14. Once we add 9x to each side, our line is also again in standard form of 9x plus y equals 14.